Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's live training and Q&A session. I'm Helena Berkovich, the Senior Marketing Manager here at PractiTest. Before we get started, I will go ahead and share today's agenda in just a few minutes. But for those of you who might be new to PractiTest, I wanted to just take a minute or two to let you know a bit more about us as a company. We were founded as a company in 2008. Most of our competitors at the time were on-prem, but we were the first fully SaaS-based test management solution. Testing evolved over the years, and we evolved alongside with it by supporting both manual and automated testing. Today, our platform features a number of AI-powered features, mostly used for automation, but also to really help you take the guesswork out of your testing and be more efficient. We're trusted by a number of global leaders across the spectrum of businesses, from education to retail, payments, healthcare, government, gaming, and others. We're an established leader. Our customers really trust us to help them deliver quality software faster and more efficiently. We put a lot of thought and effort into making sure that the PractiTest platform is as user-friendly as possible, and it incorporates a number of industry standard privacy and security protocols. Our customers give us consistent feedback year after year that we're really serving a need by helping them with best-in-class support, high ROI, fast implementation, and many other benefits. So thank you for that. For those who might be watching this at a later point, or may have missed today's session, please join us on Wednesday, November 8th at 10 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central European Time for our next live training and Q&A session. It will be focused on PractiTest workflows and really getting the most value out of your PractiTest account. You might have seen us sharing our upcoming, our big event, the Online Test Conf. It's taking place on November 13th and 14th. It's on our website as well. This is our annual virtual event that brings together new professionals in testing, as well as seasoned executives. It's all about sharing knowledge and expertise, growing your network, and continuing education as well. This year, our Online Test Conf will include a certification program to really help sharpen your testing skills. On today's agenda, which I'll give the floor to Omri and Olga in just a moment, we're going to be talking about how to apply the issues module in projects that you may have integrated with Jira, DevOps, or ClickUp, how to use the issues module as a standalone bug tracker, using best practices for utilizing filter trees to help you organize your tests, and how to create custom reports so that you can increase visibility from A to Z. As always, if you have any questions or any feedback you'd like to give us, any topic you'd like to learn more of or have us focus on, please let us know. That's it from me. I'm going to give the floor to Omri and Olga. Take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, Helen, for the introduction. And yeah, today we're going to cover the topics that Helen just mentioned. Before we dive right into that, I would just give a short overview of the entire flow, just a 5-minute recap for some of you that are new to the platform. And from that, we're going to dive straight into the issues model. As Helen said, we'll start with reviewing an integrated project. And then from there, we'll go to a standalone project where we review some of the capabilities PractiTest has in terms of issues management as a standalone solution, and go over the reporting from there. So I'm gonna start sharing my screen. And before I do that, actually, one more thing that I wanted to say is that we really encourage you to ask questions during the session. Right after the main plan that we will go through, we would want to also open the floor to questions, and that's really important for us to have a conversation and hear from you guys as well. So without
Omri, you're on mute.
Yeah, and on mute. Thanks, Olga. So without further ado, I'm going to start this session, and after the first part, I'm going to pass it on to Olga to take it from there. So Okay, so I hope everyone can see my screen. This is my dashboard. We're gonna focus on it later on during this session. Before we dive into the issues model, as I said, I just want to quickly give an overview of all the modules we have in the platform. So the process actually starts in PractiTest from the requirements module. This is where you gather, create, and manage requirements. You can also sync in tickets from other platforms into your PractiTest requirements module and cover them by test cases. We have two different testing models in PractiTest. The test library is basically a repository where you store and manage all your test cases, and the test sets and runs is where you actually record results and gather your tests into groups for test execution. And finally, our topic for today would be the issues module and how you can utilize that to keep better track of issues and to be more efficient in terms of managing issues, both in integrated projects and in standalone projects. So I'm gonna actually start this session from test sets and runs model, where I'm gonna show how I report an issue from a test execution and how the reporting of it is working in terms of integrated project. I'm gonna go into one of my existing test sets here and just click on run next to my user definition functions test instance. So when I run a test, what I would see here on the left, I'm sure all of you already know that, but on the left-hand side here, I'm gonna see the step information, the step title, the description, and the expected result. And on the right-hand side, I have the actual result section where I can type in what actually happened when I verify the step and select a status for it. What I want to show in this flow is the fail any issue button. So once I'm verifying a step, if I accidentally identify an issue, or not accidentally, but if I identify an issue, I have this fail an issue option over here. And when I click that, in this case, I'm showing a project which is integrated with Jira. And in integrated projects, what will happen, I will have this window over here opened for me, where I can select the actual project on the Jira side and the issue type that I want to report. The description here is already filled in with the steps information that led me to find the issue. And then just below that, I have additional fields based on the configuration of my project. So once I'm ready, I can just report the issue directly from my test run. And the issue will be reported in Jira once I do that. So the issue on the Jira side will also contain traceability section to show the to show the trace to the actual test that I reported this issue from. And this will show up in the PractiTest integration section over here. You can see the tester and the run status, the test that I recorded it from, and the test run. And in the actual test run, I also have the trace to the issue linked directly to the step. Now, this link actually leads me to the copy of the issue that is created in my PractiTest issues model. So this is actually the main point why I wanted to show this flow, because every issue that I report from PractiTest to the external system, in this case Jira, will also be created in my PractiTest issues module as a copy. Now this copy will be fully synced to the original in a way that every change that I make to the title, to the description, or to the status of this ticket in Jira will reflect in this PractiTest copy automatically. This allows me to have or to keep Jira as the source of truth for my issues, but in the same way, keep track of those issues directly in PractiTest. So these three fields that I mentioned are synced in by default, but in addition to that, I can decide to map additional fields, and those will be populated automatically as well. Now, I just want to cover or review the entire issue ticket in general in PractiTest. And this is true to issue tickets in projects which are integrated, but it's very similar when I use PractiTest as a standalone solution for issues as well. So I already mentioned the title and description of the issue. Just below that, I have another section for my custom fields. So these are my PractiTest custom fields. Olga will touch that later on in the next section. And just below that, I have my Jira fields that I mapped. And below that here, I have my attachments and comments. So in projects integrated with Jira, those are also synced. If I add attachments in the PractiTest side, it will be synced in with the original ticket in Jira and vice versa. And the same with comments. So this allows better collaboration between the two platforms. And basically, we aim to keep you as much as possible within PractiTest and without the need to actually move to Jira. So you can keep track of everything that goes on the Jira side directly from here. And on the right-hand side here, I can see the author of the issue and when it was created, when it was modified. We have this issue age field that shows every day that the issue open, it populates with another day. So basically, I can always see how old is an issue or how old is it until it's closed. Another option that I have over here is to add other users to a notification list. So I can basically decide who will be notified when changes are made to this issue. And that's basically it on the general tab. Now, another tab that I have in my issues is the traceability tab. I already showed the trace that you can see from the test run to the actual issue, but from the issue itself, you can also see a trace to the test. So from here, I have the trace to the actual test in the library that this issue is now linked to. And I also have a link to the actual test run. So this is very similar to what you see in the Jira panel. Okay, so I want to move to the actual issues module here. The issues module is very similar in structure to the other three modules, but I actually want to start with one of the actions that are only available for the integration. And this is to basically sync in tickets that were initially reported in the other platform. So over here, you have the option to sync in a new issue from Jira. When I click this option, I have two different options here. One is to sync in individual tickets by their IDs, and the second one is to sync in ticket in bulk using a Jira filter. So what I can basically do here is to define a list of issues that I want to sync here, just add it as a filter on the Jira side, and then select the filter from here and sync all those tickets in bulk. This is something that is available in the Jira integration, but not actually available in the ClickUp and Azure DevOps integrations yet. And just to mention about the options that I already showed, that most of them are available on the other integrations as well, beside of the sync of the comments and attachments. So it's very similar. I'm showing this integration as an example, but basically the other integrations are similar, but not as comprehensive. Okay, so that is basically it in terms of syncing in other tickets. Actually, let me just complete this task. I didn't do that. I'm just gonna select a filter. I'm gonna sync in the content of the filter. Hopefully it's not too many tickets. Yeah, what is already in PractiTest will not be synced again, and all the rest of the tickets are now synced in. So it's very fast, and basically now all of those tickets will be synced in here. Once those are synced, as I just showed in the ticket that I reported, all the fields are synced by default. So the name, the description, and the status will be synced by default, and when changes are made in Jira, those will be reflected here automatically. Now, when I have all of these tickets here, one of the main benefits of having them here is to use the filtering capabilities that I have in PractiTest to organize the issues here and basically have a convenient way to kind of group them together into smaller units and even see and prioritize work. So I'm going to show an example of how to create a filter based on some of the fields that I have available to me. So there are many different ways to create filters. You can make it very complex or very simple as well. Some of the options will be also covered by Olga, but in this case, I'm just going to show how to create an automatic filter, which is the easiest and shortest way to create filters in PractiTest. So when I select this auto filter checkbox, all I need to do is to basically select the field that I want to filter by. In this case, I'm going to select status. And if I want, I can select an additional field and create this automatic filter as an hierarchy. So in this case, I'm just going to select priority just to show how that would look like. Once I'm ready, I'm just going to take that. I'm going to create my filter. And this filter is created for me. To see the content of the filter, I just click on the left arrow over here, and then I can see all my issues broken down by their statuses. So the system basically identifies all the options that I have for the status field, and it creates those options as filters automatically. It also shows how many issues I have for each status. So I can see that I have 15 issues for the status new, I have 4 issues for status assigned, etc., etc., etc. Now, because I selected also an additional field, which is the priority field, I can also click the left arrow next to one of the statuses and see the further breakdown that I asked for by the priority. So this is basically how the automatic filter works. And once I use that, I can use that on fields that I created in PractiTest or fields that I mapped with Jira. So that's very, very powerful. And I can use the filter that I created to basically show all the issues that I have that are now fixed by the developers on the Jira side. And again, the status will change based on the status change in Jira. And that way I can basically know which issues I now need to retest to kind of cover a testing cycle. So yeah, that's the main point I wanted to cover at this point for the filters. And I think from this point, we're gonna discuss some of the options that are available in the for PractiTest as a standalone for the issues model. And for this purpose, I'm gonna give the stage to Olga.
Thank you, Omri. So just let me share my screen. Okay, so this now should be visible. Okay, so whereas the issues workflow for your integrated projects would be defined by the bug tracker or the external system you're using, again, whether this is Jira or ClickUp or Azure, if you're using the PractiTest as a standalone solution, you can actually define the issues workflow, which is relevant for the needs of your testing process or your organization. And just to mention that this privilege is kept for the project admins. And the way for me to do so I have this open in a separate tab, but basically for me to get here, I need to go to Project Settings, Workflow. Now, right here on this page, basically I can customize any statuses. I can set the different transitions between them, meaning, let's say currently I have for the very first row here, if currently my issue is new, this can move later to either opened or rejected status. Okay, so these transitions can be set manually. And in addition, I can set the different approvers. So let's say in a case, let's scroll a bit down. So let's take the rejected case. If you don't want to allow all of your testers to actually reject the different issues or all of the developers, you can actually limit this one to specific user groups you create or the ones the system already has. So you can really control this process. Now, in addition, you can also remove transitions. Now, the system comes with, I believe, yeah, it's 3 built-in statuses, and you can see these are the ones that don't actually have a dustbin next to them. The rest of them can be deleted, or you can add an additional status. So if I'm going to use the use case I mentioned previously, the ones that require refixing, retesting, I can actually set the retest status. Right over here, click on add. Okay, and from this point on, I would need to define the whole workflow. So likely this would need to be set either to fixed or any other transition. Again, this is up to you to decide. Now, similarly to the issues which you saw for the integrated projects, when you're using PractiTest as a standalone solution, the issues would look exactly the same in terms of their infrastructure. Now, whereas the Jira integrated project had some fields mapped from Jira, you can actually manage the data in your projects with the help of custom fields. And here I'm referring to these 3 fields you're currently seeing. Now, basically, the custom fields are PractiTest's way to manage data, and you can look at them as smart labels by which you can slice and dice the data in your project by. And I'm going to show this one in just a bit. Now, in addition, you have the attachments, the comments, and whenever I can actually mention one of my teammates, and Omri, you are the lucky winner of this one. And again, can you elaborate on this one? So whenever I set this comment, Omri will get a notification to his email along with the URL taking him to this specific item. Moreover, notice the notification list right here. I can actually click on this one and add people to the notification list without setting the comments. So you really can control this part. Now, moving over, so, and that is actually going back for this part. So I was referring to the slicing and dicing with the help of custom fields. So I got these 3. You can actually create as many fields as you like. These can reflect issues found for specific features, let's say, or if you're not working agile, let's say you work with versions, you can actually create all of these fields along with their different values. And what this allows you to is to create filter views categorizing your data by the certain attribute. And by attribute, again, I mean the custom field. Now, the field Omri mentioned earlier, issue age, is also available for this one. Now, in addition, you have all of the data regarding each item as per when this was created, when this was last modified, and you also got this under the history tab right here. Okay, so if there were any changes, they would be noted. Now, going back to my main grid right here. So let's create an additional filter. And we saw earlier the auto filters, and I want to refer to the ability to create custom filters. Let's say you would like to know the current the work overload for your team. So what you can basically do is create a filter for this one. And you can utilize for this purpose the assigned to field, which will show the issues handled by a specific developer. Or you can use, the assigned to, So I can either select a specific name of someone of my team, but that would give me the view of only the issues that belong to them, or I can go for the current user option. And current user, basically any user who goes to this filter will only see their items there. Now I can dive even deeper and add additional criteria to this one. And let's have this by priority I want to have the high priority. So my high priority issues. Now, likely, since this is again demo data, likely my filter would be blank at this part. And the reason for this one is because basically I have 0 items currently meeting this criteria. Not even a single issue is assigned to me. But once this part is handled, okay, so this is me and this one is high priority. So once this part is adjusted, I will actually be able to have a breakdown of the different items I have here. Currently, it's just one. And so my testing process is really great if I just have one bug. But again, this allows you to view the specific items. Now, another option for you, and you know what? Now I'll go one step back here. Let's say for the moment, you would like to have all of the issues that were found during a certain sprint. Now, you can either manage this with a help of a custom field called sprint, and I already got this in my project, or there is another option for you, since likely some of you or most of you actually manage your test sets by the different versions or the different sprints that they're covering. And exactly for this purpose, we have the cross filters. So as long as you have a filter in the test sets in which your test sets are shown by the different sprints, we will be able to create a filter based on the filter in the test sets to actually have all the different issues linked to it. And for this purpose, I have the cross-filter criteria here. So this one takes some seconds to load, since this usually contains all of the different filters which are in the system. So bear with me for this one. So I would be selecting the test set as my main entity. And currently I am on sprint 2. So this is the filter that I would be selecting. Pardon me. Yeah, let's go for this one. Great. So the cross filter actually helped me to retrieve all of the different issues linked to that specific sprint. Now, another option for me, and this one is available for the issues model, I don't really have to create filters to get this data. Notice the filters button right over here. And here we are referring to the fast filters option. And for this one, I would be able to retrieve exactly the same data with just a few clicks. So let's say for this moment, I would like to get all of my high priority issues, which are new, the ones that were just opened, I can actually just filter them out. So this one is another option for you to handle this process. Now, so let's say I managed, let's talk about the deletion option. Now, currently, and for this one, just let me reset my filters. Currently, you don't see any deletion option for any of my issues. The reason for this one is because this option is actually disabled for me now. And the way for me to enable this one is to go to my account settings, projects management. And here is my current project. So if I go to editing mode, I can actually enable this option. So just let me update this and refresh my screen, and voila, here it is. Having said that, notice that deleting issues is overall, it would not be such a great practice because you might need the historical data eventually. So for this one, we do recommend setting a custom status such as archived or done or anything you find suitable, and basically to create a separate view for this one. Now, I think I'm done for this part, and for the next part, we want to discuss reporting and dashboards, how to actually present all of this data. And for this, Omri, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Olga. And I will share the screen again. I just want to remind you all that feel free to ask questions. Just after I'm going to cover some of the reporting options that are relevant to issues, we're going to open the floor to questions. So feel free to step in with your questions. Okay, so I want to start from the dashboard. In this case, I created a dashboard tab that solely focus on the options available for reviewing my issues. Usually what I would do here is to create different tabs to show different aspects from the project. For example, to show information from a certain sprint. In this case, I just created a tab here to demo these options to you. Usually I would probably not create an entire tab just to show over information about the issues, even though that's also a possibility, of course. So the dashboard in itself is very customizable. I have many different options or many different graphs that I can create based on each one of the different entities. And in this case, I'm just going to show some of the items that are available for reporting in regards to your issues. So the first item that I have here on the left is called the issue status changes. What it basically shows is for a selected time period. It can be an absolute time period where I just select the start date and end date, or it can be a relative time period where I select the last number of days and the next number of days. And in the selected period of time, what I will see in this graph is the number of issue changes based on the status. And this is again customizable. I can select the statuses that I want to show in the graph on a weekly basis in this case, but really depends on the time period selected. So for example, I have a very large change taking place from September 18th to September 25th. I can see that on September 18th, I had, let's say, 0 changes from September 17th, but from 18th to 25th, I have 32 tests moving to the new status, or basically new issues. But I also have 12 issues that are being fixed and 7 issues that are being closed. So what I can see is basically the progress that I'm making in terms of issues. In this case, it's not a positive progress, but hopefully the fixed and closed will be closer to the new or even above that. So that's the status changes item over here. A similar item is the status aggregated progress, which again, I can select a time period to showcase this graph. In this case, it's relative only, so I can select the number of weeks or months that I want to see backwards until this date. And what I'm gonna see is, again, on daily or weekly basis, I can see the aggregated numbers that I have based on each one of the statuses. So I can basically also see the progress that I'm making towards closing my issues and the number of new issues that are being created over a period of time. Again, this can be relevant to a release, or it can be relevant to a longer time period as well. And yeah, it's basically up to you how you define the time period for this one. Now, just here on the top right, I have a pie chart. A pie chart is a generic option that can be created for any entity in the platform. In this case, I created a pie chart based on my statuses. So I can see how many different items I have for each one of these statuses. And actually, in this case, I selected to display the information in percentages. I can decide to display the numbers or display it in percentages. In this case, this is what I wanted to show. And one more thing about the pie and bar charts that I'm creating, those are also clickable. So if I want to show all the new issues that I have, I can just basically click on this segment of the pie chart, and I will be redirected to the issues model, where I'm now in a temporary filter showing only the new issues. Going back to my dashboard tab, another option that I have is to create a stack bar chart based on the issue age. So what I see is basically, again, a selection by, in this case, status, but I can select the field that I want. I can also show it by the priority or show it by the assignee or anything else. And then I can see how many issues I have of each status, in this case, created in each day, or how old are my issues based on their statuses. So that's also another option I have. And just below that, I have two more generic options that can be created for any entity. First one is a bar chart. So basically, I can show information related to two different data points or fields. So I can see that in this case, I wanted to show all my issues by their assignee and their priority. And I can see how many issues are open that are assigned to each one of the members of my team, and a further breakdown by the priority of those issues. If I'm hovering over one of those items, I can see the numbers as well, even though I can see them here clearly on the left as well. Now, the distribution table is very similar in style, very similar in terms of the data itself. It's actually the same. I also selected, in this case, the same two fields, and instead of displaying it in a chart, it's actually displayed in tables with numbers. So this is also an option. Now, another thing that I want to say about the dashboard is that every tab that I'm creating in my dashboard, this is less relevant to only issues. It's a general thing. I can basically create from each one of those tabs that I have in my dashboard an external URL that is shareable with anyone. So if I'm editing this tab that I created, I can see that I have this external URL over here, and this is an option that I can share, or this is a URL that I can share with anyone, not only PractiTest users. So this is a really good option to kind of showcase the progress that you're making in terms of your issues, but obviously for your testing as well. And you can show this progress to any one of your stakeholders using this external URL that you can generate directly from your dashboard. And this is also updating every 5 minutes. So if there are changes in your project, those stakeholders can see it live. And for the integrated projects, another thing that you can do is embed individual items as iframes. So if you work with Confluence or any other wiki, you can basically use those iframes to embed those items directly in the wiki pages, and those will also show the progress live. So this is basically the dashboard option or high-level review of the dashboard options available for issues. And I now just want to cover some of the reporting option from the reports module as well. So in the reports module, I can create more of a deep dive reports. Those are actually show all the data, including all the fields that you want to include in them. And basically you can generate those in two different formats or two main formats, which are Excel and PDF. So when I create a new report, I have many different options available for each one of my entities. And for my issues, I'm just gonna show those two options that I have here. The tabular reports in general are more of Excel-based reports, and the detailed ones are more of the PDF-based reports. So when I go for the tabular ones, I have many different options for customization. First of all, the option to select a filter. So we covered quite a bit of the filter importance in this session. And basically all the filters that you define in your issues model are then something you can use in the reports that you're generating or in the dashboards that you're generating. So if I only want this report to include issues that were reported in a specific sprint, I can obviously use a filter that I created for this sprint to just showcase issues from this specific sprint. Now, in the tabular reports, the first thing I can do is to decide which fields I include or which columns I want to have in the Excel that I'm generating. So if I want to have the different types of issues, I can just drag it over here. Actually, just below the title, I can take the sprint field here as well, the issue age, and basically every other field that I want. I can also remove the ones that I don't want to show up in the report. And based on the selection that I'm making for the fields, I also have an option to customize the charts that I'm seeing in the report. So I can edit this as well, and I can just drag to the right what I want to see in the report. Now, another really nice and important option is the scheduling option. So each report that I'm generating, I can decide to schedule on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. And basically, based on this selection, this report will be generated automatically for me and shared to my inbox or to other users' inbox. So I can decide if I want other members of the team to get this report, or I guess you're gonna get one as well. And once I'm done, I can just basically create it. This will be generated every morning at 6 a.m. and will be sent to my inbox and to Olga as well. So just to quickly cover how the report would actually look like, I have two examples opened here. The first tab of my tabular report will include the charts that I selected. So I can see that this chart shows all my issues by their statuses. Again, these are pie charts based on the selection that I made in the customization page for the report. And the actual data will show up in the data tab of the report. So here I can see all the data points that I selected to show up in the report as columns of my Excel. The PDF report is less customizable. It's basically created for me with all the available data points automatically. So I don't really customize it. I can just basically create it as it is and see all the option or all the information about the selected issues in this report. You see the history, the traceability, all the different fields, the name and the description, etc. Okay, and I think that at this point, I will check if we have any questions from you guys.
Comments, suggestions?
Doesn't seem so. Olga, do you want to cover the task board as well?
Just let me open this one. Yep, I think we can do this one.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. We actually have a question.
We do have a question. Okay, yeah. Okay. So let's have the question first.
Okay, so I'm gonna read it out to you. Where would the recorded session would be available? I think that's a great question to Helen, actually, if she's still with us.
So I think we can handle this one as well. Yeah. Basically, the session will be sent out to everyone who signed up, whether they attended or not. And I believe this will be uploaded to on YouTube, right?
Yeah, it will be uploaded on YouTube, and we will also send it to everyone that signed up. Sure thing.
Any additional questions? Okay, so I'm going just to show the taskboard option for a moment. So you can actually notice this option squeezed in between the dashboards and the reports. Wait, are you actually able to see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So basically you can filter out the items in your in any of your models here, really, and you can also filter out this one by the who are these items assigned to. So again, I don't think I have anything assigned to me, but basically you can also do this for groups. So I can select my developer group, but obviously as this is demo data, I will not have anything here, as you see. So we're going to stick to everybody, but I can also filter out the data according to the different issue types. And again, so I actually have a few items here. So basically I can define and customize lanes here and to see in what state is my current item. So if I need to handle specific items right now, they would be placed in this column. While I'm handling, again, I can drag and drop these items between the different columns just to understand my my workload as well. So I don't think there's too much to go over here, only unless you have additional parts to add here.
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so, but yeah, it's nice to be aware of this option because you also can manage your process here.
Okay, great. I think we still didn't get any questions from anyone. So I think we can, maybe we can give a couple of more minutes to see if any questions are being written at the moment. And unless we have that, I think we can wrap up the session.
Going once and twice. So I think we're done for this part.
Okay, so thank you everyone for joining. Pleasure to talk to you all. Hopefully you enjoyed this session and learned some new things. And hopefully we'll see you again in one of the next sessions that we are planning. Have a good day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.